Is one of them a squid? That's
Well,
not very maximal.
I don't know. Optimus
Oh, right,
lied.
but well, okay. So depth charge broke the mammal rule or bird or rule, right? But there's a squid here, so fish can go on either side. If you're like a squid, you can join the maximals. If you're a shark, you can join the predacons.
So,
There's no rules here. I
so,
don't know.
so sea life are the bisexuals of the Beast Wars world.
Yeah, they can go either way.
They can go either way.
Too much Energon. 中に生まれたままのこのパワー体中で浴びろ光自然のシャワー何が善で悪で丸め込んでやめろ向かう正義の力生き抜け誰のため逃げちゃダメ全宇宙の平和願ってロボットだってサイバートロンパワーは全開デストロンのメッカ全てこれで破壊心の隅に住みつく邪悪な野望見失いかけたすぐそこに希望どんな流れこれでどれも何も勝利への鍵握る今日もいつも立ち止まることはしないだって惑星を守り通す光になって今だ戦い行けビースト挑戦みたいトランスフォーマー
Greetings, Lios and Convoys. Welcome to episode 49 of Too Much Energon, the Lasercomb podcast where we talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm your other host, Neo Cal.
What is going on this week, the Cal of the Neo?
Oh, dogs scratching my car.
Were these
Never had that happen before.
Were these dogs Maximals or Predacons?
I thought they were Maximals. I don't know yet. Maybe they were secretly Predacons.
Maybe they were Maximal protoforms that had been reprogrammed using Predacon shell programs.
That makes sense.
There we go. That's why they're mammals, right? Because
yes, that makes sense.
Which was because apparently, like the Predacons are all like reptiles and amphibians, and the Maximals are mammals and birds. That was something that never occurred to me until you pointed it out.
Yeah, it was like season.
Yeah,
somewhere in season 1, you were like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe I just can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Well, depth charge kind of fucked that up because he's a manta ray.
Oh, right. Well, the less said about depth charge, the better.
The less said about depth charge, the better.
I saw on YouTube today that a notable Transformers YouTuber, Prime versus Prime, I believe, is his channel name. He got his hands on a Voyager class War for Cybertron Kingdom Tigatron figure, which hasn't even formally been announced. But
how do we get these figures before they come out?
I've heard stories, but some people say he buys stolen figures. I don't know enough or care enough to actually look into it.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. Although although I saw on his channel that he apparently got invited by Hasbro to the set of Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. So maybe they just send him figures.
That's probably
it,
realistically.
Yeah. Speaking of figures,
he's living the Transformers dream.
Speaking of figures, I got my War for Cybertron Kingdom Galvatron right here. If you're listening to this only in audio format, I'm holding the figure up to the camera. So go check out our YouTube channel.
I like his bling.
Oh, the Matrix? Yeah.
Yeah.
Behold.
Is it on a chain?
It is on a chain, yeah. Yeah, it's if you remember in late in Transformers the movie when he goes to confront Unicron, he's actually like has it on a chain around his neck.
Right.
And he holds it
Yeah.
up and he's like, "See this? The Matrix. I now possess that which you most fear." No, I
So
haven't seen
Christopher,
that
I can't
movie
remember
like
I
literally
can't
200
remember where
times or
you
anything.
posted it. But you posted pictures of him transformed as well.
Yeah.
And that is probably the most interesting transition from a robot form to disguise form that of any of the figures I've seen. Oh, besides that, like self-transforming Optimus that costs like $500 or whatever.
I think it's
Like he
1,000
genuinely
actually.
looks like, well, how much?
I think it's 1,000.
Oh, yeah, it was up there.
Maybe 1,000
And
Canadian.
Canadian, yeah. And but that, like, it doesn't even look the same. Other than the colors, it looks like an artillery, like a laser artillery, like which is what Galvatron changes into before he blasts Starscream into the next dimension.
In
Spoilers
straight
for
into Beast Wars. Before he blasts Starscream straight into Beast Wars.
He shot him into the past. He killed him so hard. He shot him millions of years into the past, right?
Yep. Yeah, he's like a like a futuristic howitzer, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really cool. His alt mode is pretty dope. It's one of my favorites of the Kingdom figures thus far.
It's a yeah, yeah. I agree.
At least the Kingdom, the non Beast Wars Kingdom figures.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not even that much of a fan of Galvatron, but that figure, and I'm not even a figurine like collector, but that one in particular, I don't know why, but like usually they transform into something that still has the same number of legs and arms, right? Like
Yeah.
it's fairly obvious how they transformed. He looks nothing like his like laser howitzer that he transforms into. So that impresses me.
Speaking of figures, I was at EB Games yesterday and I ended up pre-ordering something.
Oh,
It's it is a minifigure of RoboCop that is to tie into San Diego Comic-Con 2021. And it is not just a minifigure of RoboCop, it is a minifigure of RoboCop from RoboCop 2 specifically.
your favorite?
It's $25. And they actually asked me to pay for it in advance. Like they don't do that with the Transformers, but they're like, "Oh, the computer's saying it needs prepayment." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like reserve Transformers here all the time. And it's never asked for that." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like some things it does." I'm like, "To be fair, if you guys bring it into the store and I don't pick it up, who the fuck else is going to buy it? Whereas if you bring a Transformer into the store for me and I fuck off, like someone else is going to buy it. Like undoubtedly."
Yeah.
But like this is a like random figure from a movie that came out in 1990 that most people don't really like very much. I'm like one of the few defenders of that movie. What a weird thing to make a figure of in 2021.
Yeah, the late 2010s and early 20s are all about like reliving like the 80s and 90s, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so strange to me. Why in 2021 are we getting a figure tie-in to a movie from 1990 that most people don't like?
Not even like RoboCop, like the first one, original.
Yeah, RoboCop
RoboCop
2 specifically. 2. It's it's odd. But hey, I'm
Yeah.
excited. That figure apparently comes out sometime next month, so and I've already paid for it. It's
Good. Good.
good. Good. Good. So this week on Too Much Energon, we are reviewing a movie for the first time ever. We are reviewing Special Super Lifeform Transformers Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger. It was originally released on December 19th, 1998 in theaters.
In theaters everywhere.
In theaters everywhere.
More so probably just Japan.
Literally just Japan only. So, a little bit of a caveat for this. So, Special Super Lifeform Transformers was a 3-part movie that was released theatrically in Japan on December 19th, 1998, like I said. It was actually composed of 3 different segments. So the first one was called Clash, with an exclamation mark, Beast Warriors, which was a clip show of the first season of the North American Beast Wars show with new dialogue. To basically summarize the plot of season 1.
For real? Huh.
Yeah. Now, I didn't really think that was worth talking about because it's just like a clip show of season 1 of Beast Wars.
And yeah.
Yeah. Part 2 is Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And the third part was called Beast Wars Medals, which is literally just the episode Bad Spark. The one that introduces Rampage. What a weird...
Wait. Like the Beast Wars that we watch.
Yeah.
It's just the episode that introduces Rampage?
Yeah.
So the only animated one is the second one.
Yeah. What a very bizarre collection of of episodes.
Yeah.
None of them have anything to do with one another narratively. And like,
so wait. Going into this, I assumed there was already like a TV show or a movie explaining all this bullshit. Oh, what you're telling me...
No, there was. It was called Beast Wars 2. Beast Wars 2.
Okay. So there is something before this one.
Yeah.
That explains all of it, that's animated.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can, anyone listening wants to watch this, you can find it for free on YouTube, but for some reason, Christopher had mentioned he thinks that it's a translation error, but it's called Lio Convoy's Critical Moment.
Yeah. And I was really confused about that, but so I Googled Lio Convoy's Critical Moment. The only thing I could find with that name was basically stuff relating to this exact YouTube video. Everything else calls it Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger, so I assume it's just a translation error because this is clearly a fan sub.
All right.
Because per the tfwiki.net, as a promotional tie-in to this movie, any child brave enough to purchase a package of Beast Wars 2 sausages and survive eating them was awarded with a magic seal card containing information on characters appearing in the movie, as well as a coupon discounting the price of admission. So Beast Wars 2 sausages were a thing that actually existed in Japan.
And if any child was brave enough to purchase and consume them and survive,
yeah,
they got like a hollow foil like info card
and a coupon
and a discount.
Yeah, to go see the movie. Yeah. Now, keep in mind
the 90s must have been wild in Japan,
Keep in mind the very like tongue-in-cheek tone of the Transformers wiki. But yeah, but Beast Wars 2 sausages were an actual item that existed.
Oh, I want those so bad.
23-year-old sausages.
No, I want to go back in time and eat the Beast Wars sausages.
Snap into a convoy. Oh yeah. But yeah, so we're just gonna talk about this part because it's the only thing completely unrelated to what we've talked about before previously in the podcast. And I don't know. We've had requests to do the Japanese Beast Wars cartoons, so here it is, listeners. This is probably the only time we're gonna cover it. But who knows? Certainly not. Certainly not. If we ever revisit the Japanese cartoon, it's certainly not going to be anytime soon. Yeah. So, do we want to get started with the episode?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. So, we open in space with a pirate ship, a space pirate ship, shooting lasers at a bunch of bug transformers.
Is that what's
they kind of they look like yeah, and one of them is like they're playing some like Matador sounding music or El Mariachi sounding music,
and it's got like a reed in it, but it's like a brass instrument, like it's a trumpet.
Yeah. This is very like Mexican sounding music.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and one of them like even has maracas that he's shaking.
One of them has maracas, and one of them is playing like a string guitar in space.
In space.
In space. And he's singing like Costa Rica.
Yes, I shouldn't have said Mexican. I should have said Latin specifically.
But yeah, one has like mariachis, and he's saying muchachos, and
when he plays the maracas, he goes chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom, and indeed, some chick chicky boom happens.
Yeah, so they're musically having a grand old time in space, and then they attack back at the pirate ship.
And some other Transformers appear. These guys don't appear to be beast formers. They look like they turn into vehicles. Right? Am I? No.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. They're green. They combine. They combine like Devastator and turn into God Neptune.
Yes, they combine. So I should have known going into this, but it caught me by surprise that they combine. But Japanese loves combining robots.
Oh yeah, and there are lots of combiners in the Transformers world.
And that's true. Like you said, you just mentioned one in canon.
Devastator, yeah.
Devastator, yeah. So he should have saw it coming.
And indeed,
I like that he puts on a helmet after they merge. Like separately, he just has a helmet to put on. God Neptune.
Yeah. Later on, we're gonna see another combiner that I actually had the toy of when I was a kid.
No shit.
So I was like, as soon as the characters come on screen, I'm like, oh hey, it's them. Yeah. So the
space bugs also combine.
Yeah, and they turn.
Who are the bad guys here?
They turn into Triple Dacus.
Yes, and then they fight.
I have no idea who the bad guys are.
Maybe in Space War, everyone is the bad guy.
Why does
Because
the
we've got pirates, but are the pirates just attacking these poor people that are like playing like mariachi music in space? Well, regardless of who who's attacking who and why and who's good or bad, maybe nobody's good and nobody's bad. A ship comes out of nowhere,
yeah
huge, gigantic, and just hits them, just plows through them, and that's the last we see of them.
yeah completely fucking ruins their day.
I don't know how they could have missed this thing, but it fucks their day up. We don't get to see the outcome of that battle. We They're not important to the story. And I would like to say it opens with the most exciting, perplexing, and when I say that, like in a good way this time, way. And I'm like, you know what? No, there's this like mariachi band, like flamenco guitar player, and they're fighting space pirates, and they're combining. It's great.
Yeah.
And now the next 20 to 30 minutes are painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Once things start happening at the end, it's great. But the summary is that a child is cause for the drama. The whole movie.
Yeah.
Lio Jr., who is Lio Convoy's son, correct?
I'm not too clear about that, but we'll get there eventually. So speaking of Lio Convoy, so after the big ship like ruins the space pirates and bug mariachi dudes, after it completely fucking ruins their day, we go down to a ship on a planet, not planet Energon apparently. This one is planet Gaia.
Ah, yes. Very different.
And we see some what appear to be Maximals on the bridge of this ship, and we get our first glimpse of Lio Convoy, or as I will refer to him for the rest of this podcast, Optimus Lion.
Optimus Lion.
Optimus Lion. And there's even like a little like glimmer. Like a little glimmer and shine on him when we first see him. And
He's
then
got like a sweet lion head, shoulder pauldron on like one arm.
Yeah, Optimus Lion's a pretty badass looking character. I like his design.
He's designed well.
Yeah. And then we get a very painful opening credit sequence with a song that is apparently called Space Dreamer. And whoever fan subbed this actually went through the effort of subtitling the lyrics to the song too.
Uh-huh.
I recommend actually watching and experiencing the lyrics for yourself. Let's go, Space Dreamer. Let's
go.
Beast
Never
Wars.
give up. Yeah, it's a thing.
So after all of that ends, we're on this the bridge of that big ass ship that like ruined Space Pirates Day. And it's the Predacons. They're referred to as the Destrons, which in Japan, I guess, like the good guys are the Cybertrons and the bad guys are the Destrons.
Yeah, so the like destroyed Destrons. So the Destrons are the Predacons and the Cybertrons are the Maximals.
Yeah. I'm just gonna keep calling them the Maximals and Predacons.
Yeah. And are they on this ship that landed, or were they already on the planet?
They're on the ship that fucked up the space pirate ship. So that big ass ship that
so they're
warped
on
in. So that's where the Predacons are.
Okay.
And we
Well, I think you're wrong, because when they're on the bridge, the Predacons are saying that this spaceship will bring us Destrons good fortune, and they talk about beating the Maximals there.
oh, okay, well maybe I am wrong.
I don't I This movie's wacky, man. So what I thought is that the ship that landed on the planet was abandoned.
Oh no, yeah, okay, yeah. It was a couple. I've only watched it once. I had meant to actually
too.
rewatch it again today, but I just had to go grocery shopping and
Yeah, life stuff. Yeah,
life stuff.
me too.
Yeah, you are correct though.
Okay.
So the Predacons, the leader of this band of Predacons is Galvatron, who is I think he's a very ugly looking character. Personally,
so the leader here is Galvatron.
His color scheme is horrendous.
The leader of the Predacons here is Galvatron.
Yeah, that's what they call him.
But it's not Galvatron.
Well, I think much in the same way that in the real Beast Wars, Megatron is called Megatron, but he's not the same Megatron.
He took his namesake for Destiny. So that's what's happening here.
I assume so, yeah. It's not the same Galvatron, okay. It's just another Galvatron.
It's not. So you don't like his very colorful colors?
No.
I do like his head design. And he has this always has this shit-eating grin with his teeth clenched together, and when he talks, he never opens his teeth. He just talks through his teeth like this.
I didn't really notice that.
Yeah. There's only one time he opens his mouth in the movie, and that's so he can lean back and laugh.
Yeah, it cracked me up. I when I was watching it the other day, I took a picture of it and sent it to Cal. Because I was just like, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I know exactly what part of the movie that's from. It's when, well, we'll get there. Yeah.
We'll get there. So that big ass ship crashes, and then back on the Maximals ship on.
And it crashes in the Arctic biome.
Yeah. Yeah, the
taiga.
The taiga biome. So the Maximals pick up on this, and some fucking kid shows up who's apparently named Lio Jr., and he's like...
Some fucking kid.
Okay, so... Yeah. When I watched this, I was not prepared for how many times I would hear the name Lio Jr. in the span of 45 minutes. They say Lio Jr. Like you just
Lio Jr.
and Lio Convoy. You hear it a lot in this fucking movie. Practically every line of dialogue. Like if they're in the scene, just about every line of dialogue has Lio Convoy or Lio Jr. in it. So So basically, Lio Jr., I don't know. Is he Lio Convoy's son? I don't know. How does lineage even work amongst Cybertronians? I don't know. We've speculated about that before, but so Lio Jr. basically looks like a dollar store knockoff version of Lio Convoy.
It reminds me of when you used to talk about getting the dollar store versions of things, and you mentioned one of the dollar store name brands.
Yeah. And we went on this big spiel, just making up our own knockoff version.
This is definitely dollar store version Lio Convoy.
Yeah. So basically the gist in this scene is Lio Jr. wants to go investigate this ship, and Optimus Lion is no, you're just a kid, and he's no, I'm not.
Everyone else on the bridge agrees.
He's no, I'm not. I can do this.
This kind of mission's too much. You're a child. You should be in bed.
Right? That was such a fucking weird line.
And then someone else agrees, and they're like, yes, a boy, young boy of your age should be sleeping. And I'm like, what? And so that sets the tune for the entire goddamn movie. I kid you not, is this whole movie revolves around the arc that Lio Jr.
Yeah.
wants to prove to everybody that he's an adult, and everyone else does not treat him as an adult.
This is
He
actually
fucks shit up.
this is actually a trope.
I know, and I hate it.
And even the real Beast Wars cartoon, like the episode Equal Measures with Cheetor and the like Energon relay, the teleporter episode.
Yeah,
that follows a similar plot. It's not nearly as insufferable.
45 minutes.
It's not nearly as insufferable, but like the basic gist.
This is far more insufferable.
But like the basic gist of that episode was also that like Cheetor is like the young kid that thinks he can do it, thinks he doesn't listen, thinks he can do a thing, and they're like, no, you can't do it, and he's like, come on, I can do it. I'm a grown up. And then he like goes off and does it anyway, and then ends up fucking things up. So same very basic plot.
Yeah.
But in general, it's just a trope in
it's something
children's
common
cartoons.
in Japanese anime, I find.
Yeah.
This whole like all the adults telling a kid that like, you know, like he needs to wait to be an adult and he's not responsible enough and this isn't the kind of job for him. And then there's kind of one person sympathetic all the time who says, oh, no, like you should let him go. In this case, it's somebody named Kid.
Oh yeah, Tasmanian Kid.
Yeah.
What a name for a transformer.
Tasmanian Kid, Kidd. And Lio Jr. even asks Lio Convoy, what, so you're also treating me like a child? And they don't want him to go. So Kid vouches for him and he says, hey, I'll look after him. Let him go on the mission.
And so Optimus Line is like, okay, you got it. That's all it took.
So now we bring in, you know, I'm going to wait a little bit. Before I rant. I'll wait.
He'll wait. So
yeah, so somebody says like, hey Kid, you're 10 years too early to be looking after someone else. Is that like he's too young to be a parent? Like, so Kid is also a young person. He's like the new cadet or something, right? That's the gist I kind of got watching it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Because they're kind of like, oh, you're 10 years too early to be looking after someone else's kid. And I'm like, okay, so Kid is like 18, 19, 20 is the gist I'm getting from this.
Yeah, and Lio Jr. is like 9 or 10.
Yeah. The perfect age to be a little shit. Anyways, so
three of them,
Convoy.
3 of them go off.
Yeah, only 3, huh?
Yeah. Lio Jr., Tasmanian Kid, and some elephant dude. So,
Patchy, I don't know what.
yeah.
One of them's named Apache. Is that the buffalo? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the buffalo. See, these 3 here are actually like. Oh, there's 4. Wait, there's also the bird.
Yeah, there's 4 of them go total.
Right. So the bird, the elephant, and Lio Jr. are also combiners, and they combine into Magnaboss. which was a toy I actually had because that toy was released in North America.
See, I was pleasantly surprised that specifically those four could combine. I was under the impression watching it that any of them could combine, because later on when it happens, it just feels random to me that just a random group of four combine. But now that Christopher's mentioning it's the same four that are going out now, makes a little bit more sense.
Interestingly enough, the character that is Lio Jr. in this movie, the toy of the North American version was named Prowl.
Oh, okay.
Which he's a lion, makes sense. And he had a different head that didn't make him just look like have an Optimus head.
Yeah. Okay. So in typical Beast Wars fashion, instead of everybody going to check out the very dangerous artifact, a spaceship,
Yeah.
just a few of them go. So I was going to criticize it for that, and I still do. But that is very Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Sending just like 2, 3, 4 people to go investigate something that the entire squad should probably go.
One thing I will say.
So they're in the Arctic.
One thing I will say is I actually like the transformation animations, like how characters kind of just leap up and.
It's animated pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, I actually like the animation in this movie.
You can get away more with 2D animation. Whereas in Beast Wars, they had to look like they're the toys, right? In this, they are completely unapologetic. They don't look like toys. They look like a real lion and a real mammoth and like real animals.
But in their robot modes, though, like I actually recognize a bunch of these characters. Like I recognized the ones who turn into Magnaboss. One of the Predacons is clearly like Cybershark, which I have a toy of.
Yes.
It's clearly Cybershark, but like with I think its name is Hellstorm or something, or Hellscream or something like that.
Hellscream, yeah.
Yeah.
You scream, I scream, we all scream for Hellscream.
So they find in this ship they find like some like kind of artifact that like I'm gonna blah blah this basically basically it's some bullshit that can summon any great transformer from any time and place in history, which is a weirdly specific thing to have just on this ship.
Very oddly specific. And it's abandoned though.
It's abandoned.
There's no one on the ship.
They can't get it to work because it's missing like the control unit, I think it's called. And then the Predacons show up. And a big battle goes down and
the battle animations are dope for anyone like listening. Like it's if you're okay with dated dated animation, it's not like it's bad animation, right? But the plot revolving around Lio Jr. being a little shit.
Yeah.
If you can stomach that, at least go check out some of this. Because they look cool.
Yeah.
They look cool, they transform cool, the battles are cool. And apart from the first few minutes, the last like chunk, the last like 10, 15 minutes, oh yes. It is interesting.
So Lio Jr. gets impulsive and decides that he's going to go like recover this control unit off by himself.
Yeah.
Predacons show up, big battle ensues. Optimus Lion shows up to save the day. And when he transforms, he actually gets a like Dragon Ball Z style like power up like transformation sequence.
It's pretty fucking rad.
No, it's cool.
So him and like the veterans show up. It's like him and a baboon and a bison, and they all look pissed, and they're all big and lumbery, and they come in to save the day, right?
I think the Bison was also a toy that was released in North America, and I think its name was Baboom.
Baboom.
Baboom, yeah.
Was that the bison or the baboon?
No, the Bison.
Perplexing. Because there's also a baboon here.
I'm gonna look it up.
That's a good memory.
I had a lot of
So
Beast Wars toys when I was a kid.
all the Cybertrons, all the what are the good guys called? Maximals. The Maximals show up, and so it brings me to that age-old Beast Wars complaint. Why didn't they all just go in the first place?
Oh no, you were right. The baboon is Baboom.
It only makes sense, right?
Yeah. Apache.
Apache's the bison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he a toy in North America?
There's a frog who's a Predacon. Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no. Apache is Baboom. Apache is the baboon. So who the fuck is the other guy then?
So anyways,
I don't
bison
know.
guy and baboon guy show up with Optimus Lion.
Yeah, and
And there's like a painful sequence with Lion Dad talking to Lion Kid. And he's like lecturing him about responsibility and stuff.
Yeah.
But Lio Jr. is saying, using this, we can release the teleport gate. And then we could defeat the Destrons easily, right?
Yeah.
You know that, Lio, don't you? And it's like very Japanese anime dialogue.
Yeah, I
So
found this part insufferable.
And it's long, isn't it?
It's very long. It's a scene that is way, way longer than it needs to be.
So listeners, or if you're watching us on YouTube, I do watch anime. I am a fan of some pretty bad anime.
I do not watch anime, listeners, save for a couple of movies that I like.
This is worse than anything I've ever seen. There is like there's probably 10 whole minutes of this movie talking down of adults, talking down to Lio Jr. and him being like rebellious and like wanting to prove himself, but then fucking up and making mistakes.
Yeah.
And the dialogue back and forth being like, why did you do this? Oh, like, okay, so they lecture Kit, Lio Jr. for what is he even? Is it? Oh, trying to get this device, right?
Yeah.
And Kid got gravely injured during the fight.
Right.
And so he said, "Well, isn't it worth trying to get this artifact, Dad?" And he's all like, "You want to open the gate so much? Would you want to open it even if it meant Kid dies?"
Well, you can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs.
And he says, shouldn't your comrades be your first priority? Lio Convoy, why didn't your whole squad go? This contradicts itself more times than an entire season of Beast Wars. If you're okay with dialogue contradicting dialogue that was said 10 seconds earlier, which is also a Beast Wars trend. But if you're okay with that happening way more often and you don't want anything to make sense and you want like Japanese dads to sternly talk to their children for 10 minutes, this is the movie for you. So what? They spank him and holy Lord, that scene is long. Jesus.
Yeah, Lio Jr. like gets mad and fucks off and
and they have a shuttle that goes back and forth between the ship, and Kid is plugged into some life support Energon tubes.
Yeah.
Like he almost died. I point this out because mysteriously,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
okay, I
They
so sorry, Predacon base.
Predacon base, and the Predacons know that Lio Jr. has this control device, and
Because Galvatron has his own crystal ball that shows him on the monitor what certain Maximals are running off doing on their own. So kudos for giving Galvatron a magic crystal ball as well.
yeah, so Galvatron basically is like, ho ho, I can manipulate this kid.
So they lectured Lio Jr., but then they didn't take the control unit from him. He just ran off.
He just ran off.
And nobody followed him. I can't, man. Nobody followed him.
So
they just let him. Indeed, Lio Convoy says, no, let him go. What? So he's a kid, and he can't be left alone when there's a mission. But when the enemies know that he has an ancient alien artifact, he can be left alone? I can't, man.
Yeah, when the enemy can just, attack at random at any time. They could be lurking anywhere. And indeed, they come up from the fucking...
You were just fighting them 5 minutes ago?
And indeed, they come up from the fucking ground. Apparently, Galvatron turns into a drill. He drills up. He drills up through the ground. He drills up through the ground, like right in front of Lio Jr., and then transforms to robot form. So apparently, Galvatron in this show is just a fucking drill.
Well, on the show, he's a tank, but his attachment on the front can change.
So he's
sometimes it's a gun, sometimes it's a drill.
So he doesn't turn into a beast then.
No.
Weird.
That is weird.
Maybe there's some kind of...
Never even noticed the first time we watched it, folks.
So yeah,
I like that he yells in English, transform.
Yeah.
To go into his robot mode.
I mean...
So what do? They told the all, hey, like, we want to protect you. You can join us.
Yeah.
Like, we're not bad. And what is he? He bullshits Kid Lion. What's the bullshit? What's the lie he tells him again?
That they...
The artifact...
The artifact... The ship, like, the artifact is actually a weapon, and they didn't know that it was a weapon or something, and then they accidentally set it off, so they need the control unit because they actually want to save planet Gaia. So they need the control unit to deactivate it. And they're basically like, come on, Lio Jr., like, your Maximal friends, like, they don't take you seriously. Come and join us. We actually want to help. We'll take you seriously. And Lio Jr. Lio Jr. has this, like, very, very cliched, like, oh, like, back and forth, like, oh, should I? No, I shouldn't. But should I?
And Galvatron even takes a knee, and he's like, "We feel really terrible. We're opposed to the Cybertrons, but like we want to save the planet." And the camera cuts to the rest of the Predacons, and they all look sad, like they're all pretending to be sad, which I found interesting. Yeah, and he takes a knee, and he tries to like be like the cool uncle.
Yeah.
And he's like, "We'll protect you, man. Like you can be one of us." And then Lio Jr.'s like, "Really?" And Galvatron's like, "Would we lie to you?" And out of the fucking woods, a half-dead Tasmanian kid lurches
Just out
by
of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. He was on the ship, by the way, in critical condition,
Yep.
passed out. Nobody's with him. And he
Yep.
tries to appeal to Lio Jr.
And Lio Jr. basically is like, well, if I prevent the planet from exploding, I'll surely gain the respect of Optimus Lion and my other two Magnaboss buddies.
Skywarp and
Santon.
okay, yeah, Santon. Right,
Yep.
you had them.
Well,
Lio Convoy, Skywarp,
I was just looking at the subtitle on the video. They had different
Santon, and Kid.
they had different names in North America. They were like,
Oh, right.
I think they were like Lio Jr. was Prowl.
Yeah.
One of them was Silverbolt. Not that Silverbolt, but one of them was called Silver. I think the bird was called Silverbolt, and I can't remember what the elephant's name was.
Ollie. Yeah, it goes real interest.
Babar.
Babar. And so he turns his back to Tasmanian Kid. Galvatron shoots some fucking missiles at him. He jumps out of the way, and away they go.
Yeah,
and then Galvatron's like, thanks. Well, now that you're joining us, can you give me the artifact?
And he hands it over, and they immediately just like thwap him on the back of the head, knock him down to the ground. And he's just like, no, you tricked me. And Galvatron's just like, of course, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's like, Gigastorm, search the energy wavelength. We need to summon Megatron in the memory bank. Because again, this artifact, as Christopher Siege just pointed out, summons powerful historical transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, hey, you lied to me. And Galvatron's like, of course I did, you idiot. Oh, Galvatron's voice in this, he kind of sounds like this. Nani? Like he Lio Convoy. He has that gravelly, like, villain Japanese anime voice.
Yeah. So Lio Jr. is thrown in jail and back at the Maximal's ship. They're basically all shit-talking Lio Jr. and Tasmanian Kid.
They really are.
Tasmanian
like,
Kid.
For 5 minutes, they are shit-talking this kid.
And Tasmanian Kid's like trying to stick up for him, and they're like, hey, you don't have to do that, man. None of us like him anyway.
That's what's happening here.
That's literally what's going on in this scene.
He'll have to face punishment, just like any of us would, for being a traitor. And I'm like, the dialogue in this. And again, the whole time, Kid is like, hey, don't blame him too much. Hey, he's like, you know, like he's good natured. Like, you give him a chance.
Yeah.
Stop sticking up for him. He almost got you killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
The very Japanese thing where Kid is like, no, but I understand how Lio Jr. feels. Why is it in anime adults act like children's feelings are so foreign? I remember what I felt like when I was 10, 12, 15, 16, 17. I was stupid.
Yeah.
Right? And I was wrong. But when you're a kid, the first time you experience certain emotions, it's the most intense.
Yeah.
It's the first time.
It's like
first time you fall in love.
I was going to say your first love. Like, I think back to like relationships when I was a teenager, and they felt like the most like earth-shattering fucking things, even if it was like, oh, we dated for like 3 months. And now
my first girlfriend was 3 months.
And now in hindsight, it's just like, yeah, whatever.
I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. But you went through it, so it stands to reason that you should show some understanding when a kid that you know goes through it.
Yeah, totally.
None of these guys seem to have ever. They were born 50-year-old men. their Transformers bodies. Kid's like, no, he's a good kid, I swears.
I swear.
He's gonna. I too wanted to grow up to be a beast warrior who was trusted by everyone. He's just in too much of a hurry.
Too
You don't
much
get
of
trusted.
a hurry.
Too much of a hurry. You don't get trusted by joining the enemy.
I know, right? I just want to be trusted and believed in. I will do that by betraying all of my friends.
That's literally the line of thinking that this fucking lion kid does. Not even Cheetor would ever do that. Cheetor's bad boy streak was like standing in a corner being like, I'll show them. But he like gave up on that in like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere.
So at
anyway.
So at the Predacon base,
they activate that thing.
Yeah, they activate
back at the alien ship.
Yeah,
it's got tentacles.
Sorry, not the Predacon base. The alien ship. One of the Predacons is like Galvatron. I've locked on to Megatron's whatever, and
it's a shark. He's a shark guy.
It's like, excellent, bring him through. And so they activate the device, but something that is not Megatron comes through. And indeed, Lio Jr. notices this from his prison cell and is like, that's not Megatron.
It's definitely not Megatron. So what this device is, listeners, is 3 things detached from the ship. They form the Bermuda Triangle in the air. And then a magical, like, oily sheen, like, warp gate appears. And this giant, like, hand monster robot creature chunks through. Not Megatron.
Definitely
no
not
version
Megatron.
of Megatron.
And
very big.
One of the Predacons says to Hellscream, like, find out who the hell that thing is. And Hellscream like does some science and is like, it's Majin Zarek.
Majin Zarek. Yeah.
As if we're supposed to know. And Galvatron's like, Majin Zarek, you say? Majin Zarek, you say?
Majin Zarek.
As if we're supposed to know who the fuck that is. And so I was curious. So I was curious about this. So I decided to investigate on the Transformers wiki.
Okay.
This is the first and to date only appearance of this character. But in this movie, they're acting like this is this like legendary like figure to be feared.
So I'm okay with that because it's not like when we get glimpses of the Cybertron wars and the Beast Wars and all that, there's all this history established that we don't actually ever get to see on screen. So presumably there were tons of war heroes that died during the original wars way back when, right? That we never hear about, maybe.
Right. But
so I'm okay with this guy being super cool, but us having canonically never ever seen him.
I'm fine with that, but the movie is kind of acting like we should know what this is.
See, I assumed there was some Japanese Beast Wars TV show in which it was established.
Exactly. But it isn't. That's my point. It's like that's where I take issue. Is this movie is acting like we should just know that we just know what this thing is.
You should, man. It's Majin Zarek.
it's Majin Zarek, motherfucker.
Yes. So Majin is just the Japanese word for Jin, by the way, which it literally means magic person or magic being. And the reason I know this is because I'm watching Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
And there's a foe called Majin Buu.
So
So Majin is like their word for genie or magical.
okay. So
Yeah.
this thing,
So it's magical Zarek.
this thing lands on the ground and like kind of like because it comes down in basically like a morph ball, but then it like
Yeah.
uncoils and like goes into its full body form. This thing looks shockingly like a diamond weapon from Final Fantasy VII.
So it wasn't just me.
Like almost shamelessly so. Like this straight up just looks like diamond weapon from Final Fantasy VII. The color scheme is different, but like the shape of the thing. Like look up a picture of diamond weapon or emerald weapon.
In memory, I was like, oh yeah, I can see this, but I'm Googling it now. Man, yeah. You recolor a few, not even all the parts of it, because this thing's mostly gray,
Yeah.
right? Uh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This looks exactly like a recolored, barely recolored, like diamond weapon.
Yeah.
Good eye.
And this only came out like a little over a year after Final Fantasy VII, so
Yeah, it's shamelessly inspired.
yeah.
So there's a pirate. There's like a ship, as in like a wooden sailboat, right?
Yeah.
With what? Man, I am dumb. I don't know anything about trains or ships. What steering wheel? Steering wheel. Yeah, a ship wheel, and like a wooden one with all the different prongs. And Galvatron is now piloting Majin Zarek. Correct?
Isn't it called a helm?
Ye-
I'm looking it up.
Ship's wheel?
Yeah. Helm, a tiller or wheel, and any associated equipment for steering a boat. So yeah, it's a helm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow, I just found the pedestal, the spokes are the inside things, and the handles are on the outside. But the part between the handles, the circular part, is called the fellow.
Today I learned. Are those
Yeah.
Destron guys attacking?
I
It's just what the subtitle was on where I'm paused on the video.
oh, where the yeah.
Yeah.
So he flies diamond weapon. It's 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 needlessly complex. It has a very complex form, everyone.
Apparently it can transform into an aircraft carrier.
So he's in the Arctic, right? And
Yeah.
he flies off.
Oh, he straight up transforms into a fucking aircraft carrier.
It's an aircraft carrier. He lands and it's got like a big spike on the front, and it is actually an aircraft carrier. Yep.
Okay. The Maximals
Yep.
are like trying to figure out what this thing is, and Optimus Lion is like, well, shit, that's Majin Zarek, so he knows what's
I
up.
know that face anywhere.
Those blasted Destrons
And
summoned a terrible monster. It's a monster, but we can't avoid fighting it. Everyone move out. Right.
fair, take the battle to it before it comes to the base. So all the
I
all
find
the
it
Predacons are chilling on it. All the Destrons are chilling on it.
Yeah, I find it weird that the like weird like cybernetic like dino Predacon calls another one of the Predacons older brother all the
Does
time.
he call Galvatron that?
Maybe, I don't know.
He turns back and yells at Galvatron, big brother or older brother.
And he referred to someone as older brother earlier in the
Yeah.
movie.
Maybe we're missing something. Yeah. Oni-chan. So he says, "Oh, look out, we're gonna hit land." And Galvatron's like, this baby's all terrain. And indeed-a-roo,
Indeedly do.
it also has tank treads or something. So now there's an aircraft carrier going across the land.
Yep.
Pretty sick.
Lio Jr. breaks out of his cell.
Oh my god. So if anyone's watching or listening to this and you had to guess how he breaks out of a cell,
He bends the bars.
he just gets angry and bends the bars and then squeezes through.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways,
that's all it took.
that happens. Yeah. Perfect writing. Flawless writing. Perfect prison.
The Predacons pick up on this immediately, so a like cyber raptor looking guy who is a I've seen this figure before. It was a retool of the original Beast Wars Dinobot. It's actually really badass looking. I've seen the figure before. It's actually really badass looking.
He, instead of a whirly thing that he just holds, it's his arm.
Yeah.
It's the whirly copter.
Yeah.
Right, like a Mega Man arm, and it shoots missiles. He is kind of like a different but also badass Dinobot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he shoots missiles at Kid Lion.
Yeah, and there's also like a wasp dude. Looks
Grasshopper?
Maybe.
Or I no, the Grasshopper's a good guy, or is that a bad? The bad guy's the.
I don't
Anyways,
know. Doesn't matter.
Some of them can launch attacks, energy blasts and stuff
in beast mode.
When the
yeah. I was noticing that.
Okay.
Yeah, Hawkman shows up, and I don't know what his name is. So Skywarp, right? So Hawkman shows up, and saves Lio Jr. from Grasshopper and fake Dinobots. You're muted right now.
Discount Dinobot.
Discount Dinobot. There you go.
Discount Waspinator. Discount Dinobot.
yeah. There you go.
And his buddies show up, Elephant Man and Skywarp, and they're like, "Hey, we never abandon an ally. Yeah, we're here for you." And they're being really positive. So Kid's speech earlier must have really vamped them up.
I actually
were you guys?
I actually find this bit kind of funny because Lio Jr. says to Hawkman, he's like, "Oh, you came," and Hawkman's like, "We'll never abandon you, Lio Jr., right?" And Elephant Man is like down like on the cliff below and transforms and like raises a thumb and is like, "Right."
Yeah, I like that. I like the corny parts. And he's like, "Hey, you guys have to trust me. There's a place we really need to go." And the others are like, well, I don't know, man. And he's all like, "No, you have to trust me." In that amount of time, couldn't he just told them his plan?
Yeah.
But instead, they go, "Okay, we blindly trust you." And they follow him away from the battle back towards the alien ship.
Right. And so
or they agree to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Lio Jr. is like, "Okay, let's combine," which I forgot to mention earlier, that was a thing. He was like, "I really want to combine with you guys." And they're like, "No, we don't trust you."
That was literally the line when the Destrons attacked them at the alien ship, and it was just the four of them.
Yeah.
The line was something like, "I really want to combine with you guys." And they were like, "Oh, I don't think so, kid. We don't trust you."
And
it's like, what? You guys you can only combine all four together. Wouldn't that be great timing?
It's just the three of them.
Oh, sorry, right, the three of them, yeah.
Yeah. Tasmanian Kid was just the fourth wheel.
He's the backup. He's the support.
Yeah. So they combine and
here,
become Magnaboss. And so what I find weird about this is it's like, okay, so we have this this team that can combine into this big, like, powerful robot.
right?
Why the fuck is the dipshit 10-year-old the one in charge when they
Because as
wait,
Magnaboss, yeah,
yeah, like when they combine, like, why is the dipshit 10-year-old the one running the show when they're Magnaboss in their combined
because
form?
it's not like they're all talking. It's him
Yeah,
that's talking, right?
yeah,
Because after he transforms and he says wisdom, courage, and the love for our comrades, I am Magnaboss or something.
yeah.
Um, the three of us is one. So does he identify as Magnaboss and it's all three of them as one being, and it just sounds like Lio Jr., or is it actually Lio Jr. who's in charge?
I get the impression it's Lio Jr. that's in charge because, like, even the voice aside, like, he still kind of behaves like Lio Jr.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Why would the dipshit 10-year-old be in charge of this this combination?
Yeah. So something very funny, very, very funny happens. So Magnaboss, the mighty powerful Magnaboss. I think they even say in dialogue that, like, Magnaboss is, like, powerful and mighty. And immediately right after they combine, one of the Predacons fucking shoots Magnaboss in the chest, severely injuring
Dinobot
him.
yells Dino Missile immediately after they transform and hits him right in the chest.
Immediately. So, and he spends the rest of the movie, like, limping, like, with his hand over his chest,
Clenching the wound.
clenching the wound. It's like, you're not that. I thought you were fucking mighty, the mighty Magnaboss. Like,
And a normal dude, not even like a combo, like
yeah,
fucking Destron, just shot a missile at you. But earlier, when they were chasing you as a lion, they shot at you with missiles like 8 times.
yeah.
So is Magnaboss just
Magnaboss ain't shit.
Magnaboss ain't shit.
So
He's just a bigger target.
basically,
So they limp over to the alien ship.
yeah, they limp over to the alien ship. They try to to summon a legendary transformer of their own, and
The ship's low on energy.
yeah, it doesn't have enough power, not enough Energon. So Magnaboss decides to hook up some jumper cables to himself and give the ship some juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it hurts him.
Yep.
Yeah, he gives the ship some of his own Energon, folks. And he screams in pain at this selfless act.
I might actually
like,
the face that he makes while that's going on, I might actually make that the art for this episode.
yeah, 29 like 45 or something.
Yeah, about there.
There we go. 29.50. He's like screaming.
Yep.
Now the thing
There-
is, this ship
there it
is
is right there.
gigantic, right? Like huge.
Yeah.
Too big.
Too
you're
much
telling me
ship.
that Magnaboss can spare some of his juice to power up a space and time device?
Yep.
Skeptical.
So the Bermuda Triangle.
Anyway, we are back on the aircraft carrier that is on land.
Well, just before that, the Bermuda Triangle actually shoots down something, and we get to see the back of Garry Primal.
We do. Just a brief glimpse.
Yeah.
Just enough to make us go, is it? Oh, who could that be?
Could that be Garry Primal?
Could it? The Chalk Man himself?
The chalk.
And
Uh,
then we cut back to the aircraft carrier on land, and they just like there's like a pulley system on aircraft carriers where they don't actually accelerate of their own power. They're kind of like attached to this giant mechanism that goes underneath the runway that accelerates them um to so that they're fast enough they can take off from the ship, and they do that to the shark guy.
yeah. Hell
And
scream.
he takes off, this thing launches him, they acting like it's all Hellscream, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, and I'm off, and they launch him, and he kind of has this very happy anime face, and he laughs to himself, and he's like, hee hee hee, I always wanted to do that. And I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Dare to dream, buddy.
And
Dare to dream.
then we're greeted with a lion, a buffalo, and a frog charging the aircraft carrier. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you guys doing?
What's your plan here, guys?
Yeah, because well, they get to jump in the air and dramatically transform is what is what they get to do.
Yeah. I like how
Now I'm just wondering, all of the Destrons leave the aircraft carrier, which by the way has tons of guns on it that fire on their own accord. Why would they leave Majin Zarek and fight them on the ground where they have a disadvantage? Whatever.
who could say?
And there's a wolf Destron who decides to play a game of chicken with the buffalo Cybertron, Citron, Maximal.
Maximal.
Um, that's like Rat Trap trying to take on like Rhinox. I don't know what that guy was thinking, because they charge at each other, and then the buffalo just smashes the wolf aside.
I think the buffalo's name might be Bighorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the
That
frog gets to
just popped into
yell.
my head. The frog
frog-
literally shoots bubbles.
He yells diver soap. And he shoots bubbles.
Soapy bubbles.
Hellscream
What a weird
doesn't
attack.
seem to Hellscream doesn't seem to care. He just swims through it, even though he's flying. And the buffalo yells Horn Thunder and electrocutes him. Now, as anybody knows, right? If
Yeah.
anybody has watched Pokemon, if you get something wet and then do an electricity attack, it's effective. That's how Ash got his first badge. So what happened is the frog guy used diver soap to get Hellscream wet, and then the buffalo used a thunder attack, so it was super effective.
Well,
I don't
shit.
make the rules.
That's just how it works.
Yes.
Okay.
That's so. There's a bunch of attacks. They're all fighting. I thought I saw a fighter jet for a second there. Probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
But basically, all of the Predacons retreat, but they don't retreat back to the giant ship, Majin Zarek. They like leave the battlefield. And Galvatron's like, I'm surrounded by a useless bunch. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. Why aren't they retreating back onto Majin Zarek?
Yeah. The big like indestructible like fortress.
The indestructible like fortress that has guns all over it, right? No, it's just Galvatron piloting this mofo alone.
I like Optimus Lion. I like how when he transforms into robot mode, he has like part of his mane becomes like Wolverine type claws on his arms.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the design of Lio Convoy.
There's one Predacon that's still on the outside of Majin Zarek, and it's like the dino guy. The T-Rex guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. Not the Cyberraptor, the other dino
Yeah,
man.
and he yells, Oni-chan, forgive me! Because Optimus Primal like uppercuts him into the sky. And in typical anime fashion, there's like a little twinkle as if he was like became a star.
So Galvatron is like, fuck you, Optimus Lion. I will show you Majin Zarek's true power. And he spins the wheel, and Majin Zarek transforms back into Diamond Weapon.
Yeah,
And
he certainly does.
yeah, and he shoots off some like a huge blast. He fires his like Omega laser or whatever, and fucks shit up. The Maximals get blown away.
Yeah, it's like a giant beam that comes out of the center and annihilates huge chunk of the planet. It digs a trough into the planet.
Yeah.
And there's one part. This is where is this where he laughs? No. There's one part where Galvatron like throws his head back and opens his around 3 minutes exactly. He yells his head back and he opens his mouth and he has a hearty laugh. That's a good thumbnail too. That's the still that Christopher sent me.
Yeah.
That's his power. That's the end of the Cybertrons. And then he gets a fucking email on the monitor. Like actually like a 1995 like email pops up. Like on like the blue background, like everything. And he turns his head and he reads it out loud. And the email says, "You think you won, but we won't be defeated.
Oh shit.
Come to point B2 so we can settle things once and for all." And then a dash, Convoy.
Convoy?
Can't they radio each other?
Well.
And then after he read the email from him, Galvatron asks himself, was he able to escape from the cannon's attack?
Who can
I
say?
guess. How dare he?
How
dare you continue to live?
How dare you not die like I want you to?
How dare you not die?
And so Optimus Lion is buried under some rubble, and a voice tells him to stand up because he can still fight. And Optimus Lion goes on some like vision quest in space.
Literally, yeah.
Literally, vision quest in space. And then Garry Primal shows up to tell him that he has been summoned here from a distant by Magnaboss from a distant time and space to help him out with their problem, defeat Majin Zarek.
And he's like, "You've raised a subordinate who cares about his comrades so much." And I'm like, this is so heavy-handed. How like the kid does one little thing and it undoes all the bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like where this guy's like, he's your best soldier. You should praise him so much and definitely treat him like an adult. And I'm like, this is so heavy-handed.
Yeah, it's
trying to be Studio Ghibli but bad. Because like Studio Ghibli is always about like adults who underestimate the power of children.
Yeah.
That's the gist of this movie, except Studio Ghibli does it much better.
I've actually only seen it a handful of Studio Ghibli films. Controversial opinion, hot take. Not really a fan.
Well, if you don't like family movies,
I did enjoy My Neighbor Totoro more than I expected to. I will say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in like a decade, so
neither have I.
I watched.
My ex-wife
Ponyo.
made me watch it.
I watched Ponyo recently. Man, As I've gotten older, I'm more and more okay with family movies.
Mm.
Like I could probably go back and watch like the Santa Claus.
Oh, I watch that every
with-
Christmas. I own it on Blu-ray.
There you go, right?
I've owned it for
And
years.
enjoy that kind of show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
So
it's one of a handful of movies that I make a point of watching every single Christmas. That and Christmas Vacation.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those have grown on me now. I as I've gotten older, I'm okay with family stuff. So Studio Ghibli movies I appreciate more as I get older. Oh, even if you're not a fan of family movies, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, very good, I
Mm.
think. It's different. It's good. I like it. So what's going on in this Vision Quest, Siege? Oh, yeah,
Well,
sorry.
I already said, yeah, Garry Primal is just like, yeah, I was summoned here by Magnaboss to help you. Let's
he poured
fight
his
to get.
own energy. He sacrificed part of his energy to you. You should give him a medal.
Yeah.
He
Let's
he's
fight together for to defend peace in the universe, and they shake hands. And
yeah.
like energy explodes from whatever.
And then he wakens and he's in the real world again.
Yeah, and his Maximals are like gathered around, and Tasmanian Kid is there, and they're like, "Kid, what are you doing here?" And Kid's like, "Well, I can't resist like joining a battle or whatever. I don't know."
Whatever. He is
Whatever.
injured. He's here now.
Whatever. And Garry Primal is here too, and they call him Convoy. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
they call him Convoy.
which was Convoy was the name of the original Optimus Prime in G1. So I'm like, in this universe, is our boy Garry Primal, is he supposed to be the Optimus Prime in Japanese Transformers fiction?
Well, Optimus Primal is named after Optimus.
Yeah.
So wait. Yeah, you're right. Because G1 Optimus Prime was Convoy.
Yeah.
But they just call him okay.
But they just call this one Convoy.
Do they acknowledge any G1 stuff in this Japanese Beast Wars?
I have no earthly idea.
So if they don't, then he would be OG Convoy. If this is in a standalone universe where they don't really acknowledge G1,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Garry Primal himself is here.
The name of the frog and squid transformers are Scuba and Diver.
I appreciate it.
Scuba and Diver. Not Scuba Diver, Scuba and Diver. I wonder if they're combiners too.
Scuba must be the squid and Diver must be the frog.
Yeah. Or vice versa.
Because
who knows?
He used Diver soap, the frog.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my logic.
It's
the
good enough for me.
The reveal of Garry Primal is pretty badass. He's like up on a like heroic like status. There's a sunset behind him and he's like posing.
Yeah.
On this mountaintop and he does this flourish and like jumps off and does a flip and lands in front of everybody.
That could also be good episode art.
That's pretty dope. The silhouette of him with just like his arms crossed.
Yeah. Convoy.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, Majin Zarek is a bitch. He's formidable, but we can do it if we team up. We will lure him to section B2, where his numbers count for nothing. Or something.
Or some shit.
Basically, they're luring him to an area where there's lots of debris and rocky crags, and he won't be able to maneuver fine.
Yep. Yeah, and
Yeah.
what's his name? Magnaboss is like, I'll join the battle too, and they're like, no, you aren't at full power. You can't handle it, and we get this same bullshit again. Tasmanian
Again.
kid is like, come on, Lyle Convoy, let him help.
And he's like, okay, but you two have to stick together.
And it's like, did we need to revisit that again in this movie?
It's
I
like the fourth, fifth time.
I guess it's bringing things full circle.
I so Magnabus says, thank you, Insectrons.
Yeah,
What what was that? It briefly shows the Insectrons scouting. Are are they a neutral party? Like,
I
what
I
the fuck are the Insectrons? They're
I
only on screen for 10 seconds and then they never appear before or after that again.
kind of like the El Mariachi bug transformers and
And the
the space
pirates
pirates had
never, yeah.
nothing at all to do with the plot of the rest of this movie.
So yeah, Magnabos is like radioing the Insectrons, and he's like, "Oh, where are the whereabouts of blah blah blah?" And they report back, and they're all insects. Hey Magnabos, Majin Zarek is heading for the point B2 as planned. I thanks. I guess Magnabos is friends with the Insectrons. They don't want to fight though.
um,
Yeah, so we're in section 2B. Or not to be. And there's a bunch of like there's a bunch of broken debris around, and
I think I got ahead of you.
Galvatron's here to fight. And we get a side by side, shoulder to shoulder shot of Lio Convoy and Optimus Primal, like shoulder to shoulder. Up on their like shuttle.
Mm. Yeah, I'm completely
And
lost as to where we
Galvatron
are now.
immediately recognizes him.
Oh, okay, yeah. Damn it all!
Yeah.
The convoy who called me here was that convoy. So
I came all this way here to defeat you. And I'm like, how did he catch up on what's going on so fast? Wouldn't he be like, holy shit, where am I?
oh,
I need to get back.
he's actually in this bit here too. He's yelling without like grinning his teeth. Like his mouth actually opens as he's yelling.
Oh,
Yeah.
is he? Oh, you're right. It's
Yeah.
a side shot. Yeah, he yells, then I'll get rid of the two of you together. Yeah, good catch. And this
Uh
is really weird. So this giant Majin Zarek, which is like a tank, but it's an aircraft carrier, it's charging towards them. And the injured Magnaboss decides to play chicken with it by himself. But Tasmanian Kid has his hand on Magnaboss's shoulder and says, don't worry, my power will flow into you so you can be close to your full power.
okay.
That's only anime logic. And much to my surprise, it's not like Optimus, like Lion, Optimus Lion, or Convoy that catch and play chicken with Majin Zarek. Magnaboss single-handedly stops this thing, grabs it by the front of the blade, lifts it off the ground, and hurls it onto its side.
Yes. That is a thing that happens.
That is the thing that happens. And luckily, that dinosaur that we saw that keeps calling Galvatron older brother,
Yeah.
Donnie-chan, um, he transforms into a hover drone, and he saved him. And he said, just in the nick of time, huh, older brother? And he says, don't think this is the end, Cybertrons, and they just leave. Is it just me, or does he give up as easily as, like, season 1 Megatron on Beast Wars gives up? You know how he, like, the slightest thing goes wrong and he's like, Predacons, retreat! I don't understand why, because he can still transform into Diamond Weapon.
Yeah. Which indeed he does.
Which indeed he does, and it is revealed that the whole time this has been happening, Majin Zarek is quite capable of acting and thinking on his own.
Yeah.
So the real foe is Majin Zarek, not Galvatron.
Yeah. And indeed, apparently Galvatron isn't even controlling him anymore. One of the Maximals makes a point of mentioning that.
Yeah, he's alive, and he wasn't anything that anyone can control, even from the start. And we get to see its true form. It has a spooky evil head with with 3 eyes.
Yeah. And at around, and I appreciated this, at around like 41 minutes or so, Garry Primal teaches Optimus Lion the old maximal maneuver. Because the two of them end up hiding behind a rock together.
Oh, so yeah, there's a battle. Magnaboss tries throwing his beam at him. It literally does nothing.
Yeah.
And then Magnaboss gets scorched a little bit. And then only now, everybody starts firing on Majin Zarek. And whereabouts is the maximal maneuver?
Let me find it.
Oh, he could summon lightning? So Majin Zarek is summoning lightning. And it is fucking up the entire battlefield. Oh, that's cool. Okay, this is cool. Them fighting this guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a good fight scene. Okay, so they're not hiding behind a rock specifically, but they are hiding behind a wall. Like a little, like...
I say that, yeah, one of the debris from the old ships that crashed here or something. I think...
It counts as the maximal
maneuver. So, yeah, Garry Primal is teaching the Cybertrons to what the maximal maneuver is.
Yeah.
To hide behind things.
Yeah.
The more like rocks, the better. And indeed, later, it proves that these rocks are better, because I'm pretty sure Majin Zarek has like X-ray vision or thermal vision, and he sees through the metal like debris that they're hiding behind.
Yeah. And Garry Primal and Optimus Lion are like, we need the power of friendship. And so they like grab each other arm in arm and charge up. And
it's pretty hype, actually.
It is pretty hype, yeah. And so
I kind of love this.
Garry Primal becomes Burning Convoy, and Optimus Lion like starts glowing gold, and they go to beast mode, and in true Garry Primal fashion, he rides another creature while he's in beast mode.
Yeah, so Flash, Lio Convoy, and Burning Convoy.
Yeah.
Is what they call themselves, and they're both glowing, like Super Saiyan, like, and the gorilla is glowing red, and the lion's glowing yellow, and the gorilla is riding the lion, and they do a bunch of maneuvers, and they run up some debris to go fight him. All I wanted was a gorilla to ride a lion in this movie, and they delivered that so well. I can ignore the 30 minutes of Lio Jr. being a shitlord because of how great this is. And they don't like deliver an energy attack. They leap through the air.
Not yet. They will.
Not yet. They leap through the air. They run up his arm.
And
And go ahead.
Optimus Primal like leaps off of Lio Convoy and straight in beast mode and straight up punches Majin Zarek's like third eye.
The green
Yeah.
eye with the slit, which pretty fucking badass just to punch a giant, way giant transformer. So the couple that were back at base, they sent a couple to go back at base to do more detailed scans to find the weakness of Majin Zarek.
To
And it was the
attack
squid.
its weak point for massive damage.
Exactly. And it's the two aquatic ones. It's like
Scuba and
and
diver. Scuba diver.
And they report back recently before all of this, hey guys, his eye is his like central nervous system, and it connects all of his like functions. So even if you don't destroy it, you can cripple his full effectiveness if you attack it, which is why they're punching him in the eye. Very video game boss stuff.
Yeah. I like that they, after this, they go into robot mode and actually, like, go arm in arm with one another and fly up into the sky.
They boost off into the air. They're arm in arm together, and their chests, very different designs,
Yeah.
but they both open up in different ways.
Double Matrix Blast.
Double Matrix Blast.
And
Blue and red energy, like, swirls it. What a joy. The joy of friendship. Such anime. Wow.
Yeah, quite literally, they defeat Majin Zarek with a energy blast from the power of friendship.
They didn't even need to punch him in the eye because this thing seems to be falling apart from this double matrix blast. But indeed, as if they are ballroom dancing, they clasp hands. I'm not even fucking shitting you. They clasp hands like together, side by side, with their arm around each other, and their hands
and dual punch. There's something very romantic about this.
Yeah, a little bit more than just bromance. Yeah, and they go double friendship punch, and they smash through his eye all the way through his head, blowing his head up.
Yeah.
And indeed, all of him. It's like a nuke. He gone. He dead.
He dead. DED. Dead.
He did. And there's a badass like victory of them like standing together after that. True bromance.
So anime.
It is very. And yeah, Optimus Primal's like, I think my work here is done in the aftermath outside the alien ship.
Yep.
I love Lio Jr. He's like, don't go, stay with us forever.
I like that Garry Primal is like, no, I have to return to planet Energonia. And I'm like,
yeah.
That practically canonizes planet Energon in my mind.
Yeah, we've been saying that forever.
Yeah.
Confirmed, planet Energon, or Energonia, if you will.
Yeah, confirmed. You heard it here, folks. Earth is indeed planet Energon.
And indeed, he says, no, I have no place here, but you have the strongest thing out of all. And he leans down and he puts his hand on Lio Jr.'s chest, and he's like, right here. No, that's a trope I expected to happen. No. He says, Lio Jr., above everyone else, you know what's important the most.
Really? So the kid who's just been fucking up everything up, like left and right.
Literally joined the enemies and fucked everything up.
Yeah. But he knows best.
At 43:10, if you pause it, there's a great shot of Optimus Primal smiling.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, and he says, hey, Lio Convoy, all you have to do is believe in your men. But he did believe in Lio Jr. multiple times, and it bit him in the ass.
Yep.
Whatever. believe in kids and they'll impress you or something. And there's actually a scene where Lio Convoy's like eye lens things are kind of glistening as if his eyes are watery
Yeah.
after Optimus Primal's speech. Good job, anime. I love it. It's at
Yes.
43-ish 19.
So Gary Primal's got to go back to Planet Energon, and
Yep.
apparently because of some like time displacement bullshit, like if they keep the gate open, that it's gonna create more problems. So they got to destroy it after he leaves. So he
Some
leaves.
sort of universe ending stuff, right? Like a time and space distortion.
Yeah. So he leaves. They shoot it, destroy the gate. It's gone. The end.
Yep.
That's it. Uh, Over the credits of this movie, I find it kind of cute that like there are pictures of Transformers that are clearly drawn by little kids.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that made me smile. Like
I like that a lot.
that's cute.
All of
So,
their drawings of the
uh,
different Transformers. Yeah.
yeah, including Gary Primal himself.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, somebody did Inferno.
Nice.
That is a great Inferno.
So that was uh special
Lio
super
Convoy's
life
critical mark.
Beast Wars Special Super Lifeform Transformers Part 2 Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger. Uh Here on Too Much Energon, we rate episodes of Beast Wars and, well, whatever we're talking about. On the Too Much Energon scale, it ranges from not enough Energon to a sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. It's basically bad, okay, good. Cal, what are you rating Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger?
This is really hard. Like I can't tell if I hate this or love it
I know, I'm kind of the same way.
because like the good parts are so good, but the bulk of the 30-minute chunk that makes up the middle of the movie is kind of unbearable.
Well, and keep in mind that this is like 45-ish minutes or so. It feels like it was a 22-minute episode that was
It did
stretched
not
out.
for me.
No, what I'm saying is
Oh,
it
I know
feels
what you mean.
it feels like it should have been a 22-minute episode that was stretched out to 45 minutes.
If you cut out all the bullshit like parental nagging of Leo Jr. and him being a little shit,
Yeah.
I think it could have been 22 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
Cut out all the instead of the whole like back and forth and Leo Jr. being a shit, right?
Yeah.
Just have the Predacons win that little battle and activate the ship. Bada bing, bada boom. Majin Zarek.
He's
20 minutes sooner.
transformed. Big fucking deal.
Diamond fucking weapon. Big fucking deal. Okay. Because of I fully agree. It would have been better if it was 22 minutes.
It would have been, yeah.
It gets a sufficient amount of Energon from me.
Okay.
If it wasn't for the very bad trope and the entire plot revolving around this kid being a brat,
Yeah.
it's like a Cheetor episode, but the worst parts of the Cheetor episode.
Right.
Right? But the good parts are so good. The beginning, the first 5 minutes, the last like 10 minutes. So it combine those two, and it's a sufficient amount of Energon for me. Unless you can convince me otherwise.
Um
This is hard. This is hard to rate, man.
Much like you were saying, like I don't know if I love this or if I hate it.
When I watched it the first time, I was getting ready to slam this. I was like, I hate this, Christopher. I hate this.
I
But then I
actually
watched the last 10 minutes and I was like, or do I love it?
um I act I actually had a lot of fun watching this. I'm not gonna lie.
But that's the thing, it's fun.
Like there's so many parts of it that are just completely insufferable, but like I don't know. I had fun. I'm gonna give it a low too much Energon. Just for that.
It wins the too much Energon
It does.
from
It
you.
just barely. And
It is fun.
so I'm gonna say it would have scored higher on the too much Energon scale if not for one thing. Optimus Primal, not voiced by Garry Chalk. What the fuck?
I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Like, what the fuck? Literally only Garry Chalk can voice Optimus Primal. That's the rules.
Yeah.
That's Beast Wars.
I don't make the rules.
No one else. Like,
I don't make the rules.
I don't know if Garry Chalk can speak Japanese or not, but if not, they should have flown him over to Japan and given him lessons in Japanese and cast him in this movie. The fact that they didn't is a fucking crime.
A travesty.
It's horrible. And you know what? I am so angry about this. I have decided to start a change.org petition for whoever the fuck made this 23 years ago to go to fly Garry Chalk over to Japan, teach him Japanese, re-record all of Garry Primal's dialogue in this movie as voiced by the one and only Garry Primal, and then re-release it theatrically with
I would pay money to go see that.
with a disclaimer at the beginning offering an apology to Beast Wars fans for ever casting anyone but Garry Chalk as the voice of Optimus Primal in anything.
The fact this has gone unnoticed for like 20 plus years.
I know, like it completely, it's baffling to me. Like it's been 23 years. How has no one noticed this?
How are people even okay with it originally?
Right? Like we have to do something. So there's a change.org petition that I'm going to be setting up. The link will be in the description for this video, and I encourage all of you to please go and sign it so we can right this wrong.
Please.
For Garry.
For the fans.
And for the fans.
Yeah.
So that has been episode 49 of Too Much Energon. If you want to support the show, best way to do that is wherever you're listening to this. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a 5-star rating, anything. We have a Patreon. Patreon.com/lasercomb. At the $5 tier, you get exclusive preamble audio, literally hours every week, for this and other shows that we do, where we kind of just like shoot the shit. $10 and up, you get that, and you also get our weekly news show called Lasercomb Tonight, where we talk about interesting, weird, and dumb news stories. We're actually going to be adding something to that tier pretty soon, which so last week on Too Much Energon, I should have brought this up earlier, but last week on Too Much Energon, we covered the first 5 issues of the 2021 IDW Beast Wars comic book.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was a listener request that we cover it, so we're like, you know what, we'll give the people what they want. we got a comment on that video. We actually got a couple, but we got a comment on that video from the writer of the comic, Eric Burnham. He says, "I had some rules to follow for the first 6. Sorry you were perplexed."
I had some rules to follow for the first 6. Sorry you were perplexed.
Yeah.
Well, I accept your apology. And I appreciate you actually listening and commenting on it.
I appreciate that you had rules to follow. I understand that and also accept your apology. God.
So we are very aware that there's always production controlling how certain things are written.
Yeah.
Especially with movies or comics or that kind of thing. So when you have like 30 like cliff notes and it's like, hey, this has to happen, these are these guys' personalities because it's leading up and we want to make it different, we get that.
Yeah.
You got to work with what you're given.
And
we totally get that.
And for the record, like, all joking aside, I don't set out to like completely just like tear down like someone's work, like creative work that they've done.
No, that's living. That's a great career.
Yeah,
writing comics.
And to be fair, I think, well, I did rip the artwork to shit last week, but I think I was actually a lot kinder to the writing of the book. I think the worst that I said about I complained about some bizarre narrative choices made in the story, and the characterizations being kind of weird.
You didn't like the different characters. We understood. We're like, they're okay. Their characters are like different, right? Whatever. You ripped the artwork to shit. Yeah. I had a little bit more to say about the writing. I talked about wasted page space.
Right.
You only have 22 pages and that kind of thing. I stand by that criticism, but you can't churn out episodes. Not every episode of Beast Wars is good. You can't.
Not every episode of this show is good.
Absolutely not. Most of them probably. But not everything's going to be like perfect. And I think like overall, I'm not even sure if we rate it? Can't quite remember.
We did.
Did we rate those first 5?
Yeah, we gave it a sufficient amount of Energon.
Yeah. And for different reasons. Christopher's sufficient amount of Energon was different than like mine, right? I was fine with the art. He was not.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. Like it doesn't mean that it's not good. Right? Like some people don't like the original Blade Runner. And they're allowed to think that. Some people think that Blade Runner 2049 is better than the original. And it doesn't mean I'm necessarily right. That's just our opinions. But when it comes down to it, right, we're not like writing or doing art for like comics is like you did it. That's the ultimate awesome like kind of nerd job.
Yeah. Totally.
Right. And to the writer's credit, it started like really picking up near the end as it deviated from the standard storyline is when Christopher really started liking it.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, ultimately, like Mr. Burnham, you get to write Beast Wars shit while we talk shit about Beast Wars. So
you win in that regards.
Yep. Speaking of the Beast Wars comic and bringing it back to the Patreon talk, so we are going to continue, at least for the next little while, we are going to continue covering the comic book in a special Too Much Energon spin-off series called Too Much Galavar, which is going to be a Patreon exclusive show. It'll be on a monthly basis, like pending like the comic actually coming out. They're probably going to be like anywhere from like 15 to 25-minute episodes, and they'll be available at the $10 and up Patreon tier. For $25, you get all of that stuff. You get a monthly commentary track where a whole bunch of us like watch a infamously bad movie and just like laugh about it. You also get a t-shirt. You get the ability to pitch shows to talk about. And I also do this show called Cartoons at Night, and I am also formally announcing here that if you're a $25 patron and you have a animated series that you would like to be on that podcast with me about, you can pick the show, and you can be on the, like, you can pick the show that we talk about, and you can be on the podcast with me. Or
That's pretty cool.
Or both of us. Who knows? But yeah, $25.
I still have a show I want to cover with you.
You do.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was actually a reward that was suggested by my partner. So, and I'm like, no, that's actually a great idea.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, if you want to co-host Cartoons at Night and pick the show that we talk about, then $25.
You can have a follower viewership of 12 people too. At the low price of $25.
Twitter. Find me on Twitter at Lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. Cal, you are at Neo_Cal.
Neo_Cal with a K.
With a K. We will be back next week with episode 50 of Too Much Energon. 50. Can't believe it. We actually made it here. Episode 50.
Wow.
Episode 50, we're providing everything comes together. We're going to have a guest or two on that episode. We're going to be talking in kind of broad strokes about War for Cybertron Kingdom, because that'll be dropping on Netflix that day. So we're going to try and watch at least a little bit of it and give our initial impressions. And then we're just going to kind of see where the conversation takes us. It's kind of a hangout episode. It's almost 1 year to the day from when we recorded the first episode of Too Much Energon, so it's a celebratory episode. So keep an eye out for that. Next week, Too Much Energon number 50. And then we will finally be announcing the future plans for this podcast. Spoilers, I have a schedule mapped out for many, many more episodes. So we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Good.
I don't really have anything else to say, so I think we're going to get out of here. I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm NeoCal.
And until next week, Lio Jr.
Majin Zarek smash.
Transform. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Beast Wars!